one hand.
Oh, you're right, right. Well, then, I'll do that, and then maybe I'll have like a fist or something like that. Just these are things that you'll use later when you do a finished page, and just like little bits to practice on. Practice your foreshortening. Let's say this is the guy's.
Foreshortening, that's when it's coming right toward the reader, right?
Exactly. The illusion of depth in a two-dimensional plane here. It's okay.
Wow.
And then, do that kind of thing.
These are just rough warm-up sketches.
Right, right. Just to get comfortable with the materials again, so you know that you haven't forgotten how to draw. Because that is a fear among a lot of artists. Is like you wake up in the day and go, I've forgotten how to do it.
I mean, you might wake up one morning, my God, I can't draw anymore?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, because really, you don't know why you can draw better than the next guy, or whatever. So, yeah, I'll just go in there and I'll just practice some of the things I do, like eyes and eyebrows and hands. And
then you gain the confidence. You say, hey, I can still draw.
Yeah, you warm up and you prime the pump. That's what they say. And that way, when you get down to the finished piece, you're not as stiff. The characters have a little more life to them, the drawings.
I wanted to ask you that. Do you find the drawing, there's a rhythm to it, and sometimes you just feel the rhythm?
Definitely. I think the most successful comic book artwork displays rhythm, because a lot of new kids, when they're starting out or whatever, there's a lot of stiffness in their drawings, and it's because they don't have the ability to do gesture drawings yet. And gesture drawing is simply just trying to capture.
You better use that dark one, because that doesn't show to the camera, I think.
Oh, well, this is what I would want the kids to do is just something real quick like this, which is, it's a gesture, it's a movement, it's very abstract, okay? And then I would use that gesture in my final drawing, trying to capture that movement in that figure. And the way I approach it is I look at their chest, and their chest cavity has a certain shape. That's the socket for the shoulder there. And then their pelvis has a certain shape like that. And so the leg sticks into that slot, right?
It's fascinating, because when you first look at this, I have no idea what I'm looking at. And then after you join and connect a few lines, I can see the figure.
Well, that's the thing. It's not a mysterious process. It's just a bunch of lines in relationship to one another, creating the illusion of an object.
Wow.
And so,
but when you drew this, you knew what this was, and in your mind you knew this was...
Yeah, when I drew the pencil line that served as sort of the guide for what I'm doing now, yeah, I knew it was a guy throwing something or punching something or maybe flying. I don't know. It's one of those things like...
Jim, that's terrific.
Right, and then you put the head in here. Okay, so I put the other arm down here. Okay, and then we'll blacken in this forearm here to create a little depth so it's going back there, and maybe cast a little shadow here. All right, so you got the guy, put a couple ribs here, tricep, elbow, whatever.
Do you know the names of all the muscles and so forth?
No, actually I don't. I'm not that good with the actual anatomy like that. I was never... It's like reading the dictionary looking at those anatomy books, because they just show the muscles in a natural, unflexed state. They're very stiff. You can learn how to do that, but when figures move, you don't see all those muscles like that. They change shapes and dimensions. So I was much more into an artist named George Bridgman, and his stuff dealt more with the shapes of body parts and how they interacted and how their interactions created movement within the character. So like this guy...
Like for instance.
All right, like for instance.
I'm going to keep you there.
All right, okay. Like for instance, an arm. I can think of like... actually, I do know some of the names, but you got the... Well, I don't know what that is. I forgot. I've drawn a blank. Here's the bicep. Here's the tricep. Yeah. I think this is the deltoid. Is that right? I don't know. Then you got the forearm muscles here. And I've separated everything. And these are the shapes. And if you had to do one of those like computer design grids or something, you can sort of see what the shape... This is more like... The bicep's more like a football, and this is more of like a sort of triangular piece here.
And at some point you're going to draw lines and it'll come together and it's really going to look like something.
Yeah, they're like sausages, and you stick them all together like that. So, boom. That would be...
So when you're drawing this, are you thinking this?
Oh, all the time. I think I see, even though I don't have these grid lines, I see this shape as having a volume like that, and this having a volume like that. And it's very easy that way. Once you know the shapes and volumes, you can put them all together and you can do the complex foreshortening. Because, for example, if you had like a saucer, and then you had a, I don't know, round shape like this, and maybe like a cone shape like this, and a triangular thing like that. If you kind of stack these on top of each other and do an upshot of that, you can draw an upshot of anything, I mean, a human figure, because basically the human figure is a series of different shapes like these put together. So let's put these all together and we'll do an upshot. So we'll see mostly the saucer from the bottom. We'll see a little bit of this. You know, I'll draw through here for everybody. And then we'll put that cone up there, and then the triangle on top. And create a little depth like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So now if you can do that, you can do like a human face in perspective.
I could do the Mona Lisa. I get that.
You know, you find that, break it down to the simple shapes like the cylinder for the head and the neck and whatever. And
you're looking up at that face. This
right.
is under the chin, right?
Right, right. Kind of a...
Just want to impress everyone what a wizard I am in perspective.
All right, so you got that going. Give him some hair. Right, and to me, I see the triangular shape of this nose and the structure of the cheekbones like that, and the cylinder shape of the whole head and how the ears stick out here, and the cylinder shape of the neck. All right, so if you can do something like this, I think it's a little more complex, but it's the same kind of ideas, and that way I can draw a head looking down on it, you know, because you have the nose just stick out like that. I can do it from the side, any angle I choose. And so, in a sense, in my head, I've constructed the image, and then I can move my eye around the image and then draw it. Like if I have a side shot of a car, usually I can draw from any angle just by kind of extrapolating what the rest of the car looks like. So
it looks to me as if you can draw something, and you could start at any point. I mean, if you want to draw a figure, you could probably start with the big toe and work your way up.
Yeah, probably.
Or with the ear and work your way down.
What I wouldn't recommend doing that without first putting
that little rough.
That rough, because that way, if you start with the toe down here and you draw, you might find that the head goes off the page, and that's a common thing with kids. They start drawing and without thinking about the space they're drawing in and whether the drawing is going to fit on that page or not.
Well, let's talk comic books.
Right.
Let's do the shape of a panel, and let's see, how would you handle, you're going to do a panel.
Right. Well, let's say this is the panel.
Right. This whole thing is the panel.
Right. And a panel, it's one of those pictures that you see in a comic book.
All right, now you want to draw, let's make something up.
Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
You want to draw, and this has not been rehearsed. In fact, I hope I can think of something you want to draw. So you want to draw a superhero who is chasing a supervillain, and the supervillain is holding the superhero's girlfriend hostage. He's captured her. He's trying to escape. The hero is trying to get him. And the villain...
This is from Spider-Man 129.
It very well might be.
I think you did this.
And the villain, wait a minute, it's not that easy. The villain is just about to jump out of the window with the girl because the villain can fly, and the hero has to get to him before he gets out of the window.
So we're doing it from the outside of the building. All right. Well,
no, it could be from the inside.
From the inside. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Well, what I think of first is I visualize a setting. Let's just say an office or something like that.
Okay.
Right. Now you can't see this, but let's see.
You got to use that light pencil that the camera can't see.
Right. Okay. Well, otherwise you're just gonna have all these lines. You're not gonna be able to tell when I come in with the marker and stuff. All right, I'm going to do something very...
Everybody be patient. He'll be there with the marker ready.
Right. I'm going to do something very clear, which is a straight-on perspective shot.
And be looking right at it. You're not up there and you're not down here. Okay.
Well, the vanishing point, I don't get too technical, but the vanishing points are like this, and we're looking straight on this